How's it all going? Just been a few questions about me little Model 94, so I'm just going to talk about my Model 94 just for a little bit. It's a very traditional lever gun that you see out there in the market these days. This one's from about 1980. They only made a small run of them in this big bore model. Basically it is just a Model 94 Winchester, same as your 3030s. What I sort of love about the Model 94 in the lever guns is they're typically always got the straight pistol grip area. I have a preference of that over the levers with the pistol grip, but that's just my taste. And also with the stocks, I love the flat back of them. A lot of the old school or pistol cartridges will have a big crescent butt pad, and it probably fits into your shoulder nicer than this anyway. It's just visually or aesthetically, I like this kind of stock. Another bonus with this Model 94, it's XTR, so it's sort of the deluxe model, but they got the checkering on the front and the butt, and that's a nice touch in my opinion. Also full length barrel, about 20 inches just, and it's got the full length magazine, which is pretty handy. I shoot a pretty large caliber in this. It's the same size as a 30-30, so you only get 7 or so in this particular gun, but most of the time when I'm lever gun hunting, I'll only put 3 in there, maybe 4, depending if it's a big day, and the rest in my pocket or in the backpack, because the more bullets you put in this, the heavier they get, obviously, especially when you're lobbing 250 grainers. So that's a little tip, just if you've got one of those pistol cartridges, particularly like a 44 Magnum say, you might be able to get 10, even 11 cartridges in your magazine, but you've got a 240 grain bullet as well, and that's going to weigh up after a while. And if you're hunting deer particularly, you might only need 2-3 shots in fast succession, which you can then reach into your pocket, grab a couple more if it's coup de grace, or if it's taken off after 3 shots, well, you're not going to be getting up on it pretty quick, so you'll have time to reload a couple and then go and find what you just shot at. But that sort of brings it down to the sight that we're running on this. A few people have been asking about it. This one's a Williams peep sight. They call them Williams FP for foolproof, because you really can't stuff it up. It's what you call a peep sight or aperture sight. And with aperture sights, they actually work better the further away they are from the front sight. So it's actually not uncommon to see them come up off the receiver. I think that's what she's called. And they'll have a peep from up in here, and you'll look right back here and boom. And that's going to give you more accuracy over a peep that's just above your receiver. And it's also a lot better than buckhorn sights, which sit halfway down your barrel basically, so your sight radius is only 12 inches there, say. At the moment I've got a full 20 inch setup. And the peep sight is, you can twist them out. Some people will if it's really close bush, really close and sort of fast offhand shots, but the factory diameter for this is quite good. What I have also done is I've filed down the front of me sight and put a bit of paint on her. That just helps sort of get target acquisition on the deer. It had a gold dot on it, and I don't know, gold on sandbar is pretty hard to see or make out precisely. At least with this one, the white really stands out, and seems to be a lot more accurate for me anyway, eh? So that's sort of the short and skinny of this particular gun. We're going to talk about the cartridge now, and that's a 375 Winchester, which maybe a lot of you guys haven't heard about. A lot of you might have heard about the 3855, which back in the day was a 380 bullet. with 55 grains of black powder originally. Well, that's sort of all changed. Some of those old 3855s are now, especially made in good Marlins or Winchester guns, modern ones can run just as high, can run quite a lot similar to this gun. The casing and everything is pretty much the same to a 3855. That's a 245 grain flat nose hard cast commercial made bullet, coated with high-tech coating. High-tech coating that will typically get you by without lubing bullets. I don't want to lube bullets, haven't really got time. I just want to buy heaps of casts for cheap, stick them in this gun, not run it too hot, and that way you don't have to worry about gas checks on the end of the bullet, and you're not going to lead your barrel because of that coating. And my velocity is probably about 1400 feet per second. That's sort of your average 3855 plus P, you could almost call it. Some buffalo bore ammunition these days will go up to I think 1850 feet per second in the standard Winchester Model 94. Whereas the 375 Winchester, when it's out of the factory, it's pushing a 200 grain bullet at like 2200 feet per second out of this little gun. And that's a thumper. It's just like a little 45-70. I think I've explained a fair bit. What I'm doing is not really long, they're not really big animals, and a solid hard cast projectile like this with a big flat Metplat on the front doesn't need speed to do its damage. So if anywhere over 1100, 1200 feet per second for 100, 150 meters is going to kill deer. Just the method or the way that you go about killing deer with these sort of guns is not expecting them to drop on the spot or wipe them off their feet sort of thing. It's, in my opinion, it's more a bit like bow hunting. You want to really place your shot, get one into its lungs. Take the air out of any deer, they'll die. With hard casts, it's quite often going to go straight through, and that's what you want. These bullets don't need to expand once you get over, say, 35 or 375. That's already fatter than, say, a 270 once it expands, or doesn't expand if you've got a really hard bullet. And it's the flat nose that punches through and really creates damage, so don't think that you need a 3000 feet per second gun, or a thermal scope, or a monocular, or a bloody all that jazz to kill deer. Plain old lead, even if you get right into it, you can cast your own, and that way you can play with the hardness of the lead. But as a general rule of thumb, what they call commercial hard cast or hardball cast bullets, that is going to be as hard as you'll ever need, and it's a good place to start. The killing is a little slower on animals because what you might encounter with a 270 on a little fallow, say, you might hit him in the lungs, but the shock will just drop that thing. Quite often you'll punch a hole with this and you have to track him up, but they quite often got a good blood trail. You're aiming for near the heart, there's a lot of arteries and stuff, it's going to start squirting out blood very quick. And ideally, with a good, if you're confident with your cast bullet, holding together, smash those shoulders, anchor that deer, and he's not going to go anywhere. But anyway, that's just a quick one. It's good to see a bit of interest about these old lever guns and deer hunting. It just really takes the challenge to the next step, I think. I've touched on it before, but yeah, sambar deer is just so alert on a good day that trying to draw bows in close range it's difficult at best, I suppose, and I don't really want to limit myself or challenge myself that much with such a ninja animal. At least with the lever gun, it can be all loaded, I can still be in my camo, I can sit and wait in the wallow or on the game trail and hear a bit of noise, and I can just flick that safety, pull that hammer back, and then slowly get ready to watch him come in. And there's none of this holding the bow. Some sambar will stand there for 10 minutes, you know that. So yeah, it's a challenge, but it's more of a realistic challenge, and it gives me, you know, another 50 meters over a bow. we're still shooting 100 metres, not much further, ideally. And as you know, when you're in the bush, 100 metres is a long way. And the gaps in the trees sometimes don't present a full broadside animal like your gong sitting over there. It's just, you're only seeing bits and pieces, which with the scope you can quite often sometimes pluck straight through it. But when you're open-sighted, and just the variables with a rebounding hammer particularly, and offhand in the scrub, quite often you hit the tree. But that just means you got to pick your shots a little more, I think, and that's the beauty of this. I really wouldn't want to get a big stag, something over 26 inches, you know, like a mature animal. Under good circumstances, you know, I don't want to just luck up on one and whack it. I want to sort of be sitting and waiting, or ambushing, or have a good plan and have it come together. But that's a bit of process. We'll see how we get on in the next few weeks, over summer particularly. Whack a few more does with it, and try and get some on camera anyway. But anyway, that's short and skinny of this Winchester Model 94. Hope to see a few more of them out in the bush soon. But anyway, cheers.